Hello and welcome to part 2 of CarWale's off-road day. So far, we have subjected our 6 4x4s to 3 telling tests, and the results have been surprising, at least in parts. Now, if you haven't seen part 1 of our off-road day film, we strongly suggest you do so to understand the context. The link to part 1 will be on your screen now. And if you have seen part 1, well, it's time to subject our 6 heroes to some more trying but fun tests. And we begin with the Beaker Test. Off-roading is a great sport, but why should anyone have to do it in discomfort? And so to find out which of these SUVs can handle the rough without bothering their occupants too much, we will take them around a bumpy, winding track. And we have added a reluctant co-passenger to the mix as well. So now we're in the Jimny and I've got Bilal with me. Through this whole off-road series this time, what we've decided is that we'd make one person responsible for a car and the person will drive that car extensively, and Bilal is responsible for the Jimny. And so we thought it's best that he hold a glass of water, because clearly he'd know by now what kind of ride the Jimny is going to return. So your expectations, Bilal, do you think you're going to spill water through our mellow driving course on our off-road day?
It's mellow for most part, where I expect the water won't be spilling that much. But there are some sections which has a lot of undulations.
Okay.
And I think that will wet my mask. So.
All right. So we're at 600 ml.
Yes.
How much do you think you'll be left with?
I am guessing 400 ml.
All right. Let's go.
Yeah, I started! And this was the best part I expected. That's a corner.
Yeah.
And it was better in the corner, yeah.
So we're gonna berm U-turn here. We're going as fast as we can, just so that
I expected more on the corner, but it's already down to 400 ml.
Because we've
And
done
there's a
this.
jump here. Oh!
All right, and that's a lap. How much are you left with?
Just under 400 ml. So around 350 ml.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
I guess.
I expected more.
Yeah, but Jimny's, I think, suspension ride has always been one of the highlights, and that clearly shows.
And I can't go in public with these pants.
So Jay, you're responsible for the Thar. You've been driving it. You would have a fair idea about comfort levels of the Thar.
Yeah.
You've got 600 ml of water, which is
Already spilling.
already spilling. But how do you think you're going to do, and your pants are going to do, and Thar's going to do?
Not very confident. I'm expecting half of this beaker to be empty by the end of the course.
Why is that? It's that stiffer, this car?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess there's only one way to find out whether it does or doesn't. All right. This is our first corner. It's a bumpy corner. And as Jay had predicted, clearly he knows his car really well, because there is a lot of water spillage that's happening. But more importantly, now they've got a big bump. And that's where it probably would have. And not bad, huh?
Yeah,
What are we left with?
380 ml approx.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did it do better or worse than what you thought?
It is slightly better. I expected it to be around 300, 350, but it's nearly 400. So that's
What do you think about your completely
so
drenched t-shirt and pants?
not so good. I can already see people laughing at me from outside.
All right, thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
Okay, so Pawan's joined me because Pawan is responsible, or he's the one who's been driving the Gloster around. So Pawan, given your experience with the Gloster, what do you think how the ride's going to be and what you're going to be left with?
Like 50% of water.
Okay.
Percent on my pants.
Okay. And why do you say that?
Throughout my journey till here, the car was a bit jerky. It
Okay.
takes time to settle,
Okay.
and that is the reason, like, I feel.
All right.
And the circuit which we are driving
Yeah.
is
Perfect tarmac.
perfect,
Yeah.
freshly laid
Yeah.
tarmac.
Super smooth. Can't get any better.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what you're left
Yeah.
with at the end of it. Let's go. All right, so now we've gone through our quick short main straight and into a bumpy right-hander. This is where the suspension, depending on how absorbent it is, it shows, and now this is where it's kind of an axle breaker where it moves the car completely around.
Surprised.
Yeah, and this is another one. That, but then of course we're back to our manual. All right,
So,
it's definitely not half.
Yeah.
It's way more than half. So I guess,
with 420, 430 ml.
yeah. So clearly
Somewhere between 420, 430 ml.
you read your car wrong, huh?
Yeah.
It has the power to surprise. Yeah, so I guess it might not settle, but it is definitely comfortable and yeah, off-road. So great. All right.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you.
So Renard's been driving the Hilux all day today, and now you were busy spilling some water even before we
It's
started.
just karma. So basically, I've been mean to people, ferrying them around. So I don't really think I'm going to fare.
Oh.
This car is going to fare well.
So you think it's your karma and not the setup of the car, the suspension, or the way the car is going to handle?
It's both.
It's both.
Yeah.
So what do you expect? How much are you going to be left with?
Left with. So this is around 600. Now I'm hoping I'll not spill more than 300 ml. 50%.
All right. So 50%.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see where that leaves you after we're done with it. All right, so we're done with our straight, and now we've got a bumpy right-hander coming up. I mean, we pulled out a few rocks from our previous runs, but this is where a good suspension helps. And here we've got leaf springs at the back, and so we know how it's not as bad as I thought it would be. So, but I guess we will find out if it actually makes.
So whatever you were mentioning is what I was thinking when I was driving. But now, as a passenger, as an occupant, I know how mean I have been. But I still think I have done better than 50%.
Yes. What does that tell you about this car and your karma?
So as I had expected that it is going to be bad, but I don't think it's as bad.
Yeah. So maybe you can still be a little more mean to people. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Anand. So now we're in the Defender, and we've got Sagar. He's been hogging the car all day long. So
I regret it.
your expectations on how it's going to do through our beautiful, well tarmacked course.
I have like full faith in the suspension of this car. So it gets a very fancy suspension system, which hopefully will help me today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You're going to be left with how much?
Most of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's optimistic. That's the first optimistic person we've found on this thing. Okay, let's see what that means. So that's our straight. And now we'll head to our
How are we supposed to go
bumpy
this
corner.
fast?
Well, that's how it is. This is the tight, right, rocky corner. Little bumpy, but yeah.
Okay, I don't have faith anymore.
Believe in the Defender.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Now I've been kind here.
This is you being kind.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But anyways, I mean, this is what you think the Defender's worth. And let's see.
Oh my god.
What the Alright, that was hilarious. Okay. So how much are you left with? Actually, most of it.
Yeah,
Not bad.
I don't know how good or bad this is compared to others. I haven't seen how the other cars did.
But you're the only optimistic person. Everybody else said we'll be left with 50%.
Yeah.
So you said I'll be left with most of it.
This is
Most
good
of it,
enough.
yeah.
This is good enough.
It's more than 50%.
Yeah.
So cheers to the Defender. Well done. Alright, thanks. You said you've been spending time with the G-Wagon. What are your expectations given its solid axle at the back and
I expect to be very wet.
so you're sitting with 600 ml of water.
Yeah.
How much do you think is going to be left?
Just above half, maybe.
So you're, even though you've seen what others have gotten,
Yeah.
you're still not being very optimistic.
No, because I drove the track and I know how bumpy it can get.
Yeah.
So-
All right. Okay. So let's see how much of it is left after this run.
Yep.
Okay, so we're done with the straight. Now we're coming to our first corner, and I think Sid's having a good time. G-Wagon's been nice to it with its nice to him with its acceleration. Okay. Yep.
Thank God I have waterproof pants.
Okay. Yeah. So not bad. He's still got decent amount of
Side
water
to side
left.
movement is not helping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we'll see how much is left when we come to a stop. Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad,
so
actually.
It's way above half for sure.
Yeah, it's 400
It's
ml.
about, yeah, exactly 400 ml thereabouts.
Okay, I'm impressed.
Yeah. So you didn't feel, how did you find the solid axle at the back through our bumps? Did you find it to kick around?
No, I was really surprised that there was a lot of side to side movement. That is where I was losing the most water. It was
Yeah.
like swirling inside. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Overall, I think ride comfort was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think our water that remains in the beaker shows that. All right, thank you. The thing about off-roading is it need not be limited to water wading or wheel articulation. Sometimes one might just want to take on a fast trail with enthusiasm. We quite like the idea of that. So to see how these 4x4s come together when they are pushed out of their comfort zone, we thought timing them around a dirt track might be good fun. Now the Jimny is a light car, it's a small car, so I think on this dirt track that we're using for our lap time, it's a short dirt track. This should do well, and yes, it's not really very powerful, but I don't think that should be a problem here. The only challenge I see is the steering, because turns lock to lock are a little too much, and it doesn't have a very sharp turning circle. But that apart, I think it should be good, and I think I should enjoy the ride as well, because that's one of the stronger points. And now that we're ready, ESP off, though it won't stay off for very long, and I think we're good to go. Okay, so we've done with the straight. We had a lot of wheel spin around the straight section, and now even though I had switched off the ESP on, but well, it didn't seem to make much of a difference. Okay, now this is the water section, and we're going to take it slowly because that's a kind of equalizer we feel. Now we are in rear wheel drive, and the Jimny is struggling through the muck, trying to find traction. I guess it's the road spec tires, and again, if the ESP would have remained, I mean, if it would have remained switched off, it would have been much easier, much nicer, but that's not the case, so it loses precious time on that front. But that apart, I think it's been good, and yeah. Okay, so the struggle with the Jimny was definitely its ESP. I mean, apart from that, steering wasn't so much of a problem as I had imagined, and handling was good, the ride was comfortable, it turned in nicely, it's gripping well.
The lap time is 1.06.60.
Okay, so I don't know if that's good or bad because it's the first car we've gone out in. But the struggle really is with the way the ESP functions, and it just comes on, it ruins the whole drive out of corners, it ruins the drive, through the puddle that you want to go. If there was a way to keep the ESP off, I'm talking a lot about ESP, but everything else around the thing was really good fun. And if you want an off-roader and you want to go quickly, you want to slide around at lower speeds in this case, it works pretty well. So it's been a fun run. I've enjoyed it. I don't know whether it's fast or slow, but yeah. So the Thar should be good fun. It is, we are going to do it in 2 high, so it's rear wheel drive, and with some slippery sections it should be good. And ESP mostly stays off, it comes in, cuts in, but it's not as bad as in the Jimny, which completely cuts or brings ESP back on. And diesel, good throttle response, nice automatic. The ride's not so nice, so that's something that may make things uncomfortable. The rear might kick around, and let's see, that might affect the time in such a way that maybe grip levels will be a problem, but we'll see. Should be an entertaining lap, if not a very fast one. We are in D. We have gone to 2 high, ESP is off, and we'll just roll to the start line. All right, I think we're good to go. All right, ESP, yep, it did come on in the end. We did get a bit of wheel spin off the line, and it does feel light, the Thar. I mean, it might not look it, and because of the big wheels, you don't really mind, pushing it a little harder than you. Yeah, so this is good. Now this is our water place, so we're going to take it slow because we want to have a equal playing field for all cars. And of course, this is struggling, and that's what you want to see in terms of grip levels, how that happens. So, and yeah, now this is the bumpy part, this is the slippery part. This is where I think we'll see what the Thar can do. And of course, we've got, yeah, and through. All right, so maybe we lost a bit of time through water, but that's about it. I think otherwise it was entertaining for sure. It was work. There's a lot of small slides coming out, and with the bumpy dirt section, the rear kept kicking up, and so we kept losing traction a bit. But I mean, it is an entertaining car to drive for sure. My knees are hurting because of the console that's there that kept digging in. But yeah, automatic feels good, the throttle response nice like we had expected, the engine is nice, and if you ever come to a wide, the wrong place. If you ever come to a wide trail with like corners and things like that, this can be super entertaining because you can keep sliding, and even with the ESP off, eventually it cuts in, so it's kind of safe. But yeah, I'm hoping, or I'm guessing, it should be quicker than the Jimny in terms of timing, but it was certainly a lot more entertaining. Now the Gloster is our first in the timing or in the time lapse, the first car to have all-wheel drive. So far the Thar and the Jimny we did in rear-wheel drive because that's what we were looking for, entertainment, not so much grip. So all-wheel drive should certainly help the Gloster, and it of course has a big engine. And what we're thinking about doing is to do this in sport mode. So Pavan, who's been driving the Gloster around, suggested that that's the best option. So far we've tried sand, we've tried mud, and the throttle response has been pretty lazy on those. So we're going to use sport for this. See how that goes. We've switched off the ESP. It of course comes on like in most modern cars. We'll see when that comes in. Overall, I think size of the car, the length, could be one of the challenging aspects about this. Otherwise, it should be comfortable, it should be quick, and entertaining as well, because the steering, should help us through if the rear starts to come out. So let's see how that goes. All right, let's see. We're set in D. We've turned off the ESP and we're in sport mode. So we are good to go. All right, it took off the line really quickly. Good brake feel, of course, and good bite also. Yeah, the length is proving to be a slight challenge because we're going to take a different line and we're slowing down more than we would have liked. But of course, the exit out of corners is just brilliant. Now, of course, the water section, so we got to slow down to a crawl. It's only fair to other vehicles that we do this. And good all-wheel drive, so coming out of corners through the muck, not really a challenge at all for this. Yep. The ride's good too. Of course, it moves around, but because it's so comfortable, you don't mind pushing it harder than, you know. And yeah. So, of course, under. All right, so that was a nice lap. It was very stable, I think. The length was a little issue. We had to take a different line. We had to slow down a little more around the tighter bends. The exit out of the water section was really good. All-wheel drive has its pluses. And overall grip levels across the slippery track have been good. So you're not really waiting on the throttle. You can get on the throttle hard. And steering is also quick enough. So the last bit was under the moment you get off the throttle. That's where it went a little out of shape, but that was post lap. So I think it should be a fast one, but it was a nice, comfortable, quick lap. Felt good, not super entertaining, but felt quick for sure. So now we're in the Hilux, and after the Gloster, it will be a little difficult act to follow for the Hilux because it doesn't really have an all-wheel drive system. So as we've done it in the Jimny and the Thar, we will remain in rear-wheel drive or two-wheel drive mode. The only thing we've done is we've switched to power, so we get everything all the time. And we have, of course, switched off the ESP, so that should give us an idea. And I think the main thing with this car, with its length and its weight, the only place that I see it'll find it difficult to get out of is probably the water or the mud, the soaked mud that is there. That's probably the only challenging area, apart from the fact that it is long, so we'll have to take different lines. We'll have to probably go slower through the tighter turns, but let's see how that goes. And yeah, I mean, the Hilux has surprised us, and it should hopefully do well here because it is the conquer all of it sort of a car. Okay, we're good to go. All right, so we're so we're really struggling with traction in the rear wheel. Huge amount of wheel spin coming. And but because of its length, I think it just goes straight in line. And here again, we got to be very careful with the tight turns because it just yeah. All right, this is the water section. Really slow here. Now we're finding the car is not jumping, but skipping the rear. There we can see the rear struggling, getting out, and that's where it's probably going to lose time, as we'd imagine. But let's see. Maybe it'll make up in the faster sections because it is a brute in that sense. So, but yeah, it's constantly. Yeah. All right. So we're struggling to put the power down in rear-wheel drive. We had that at the straight, and then we had that through the mud. And the other challenge that is, or how, let's say this is compounded by the fact that it's got leaf springs at the back and there is no weight at the back. So there's nothing to keep the suspension from skipping everywhere. And this track is quite rutted in that sense. You can't really see it, but it's small ruts everywhere. And so it's just struggling to put the power down. The rear wheels are spinning, and and it feels heavy. It is a heavy car. You can feel it in the steering. There's a lot of turns lock to lock in that sense, and it requires effort to move it. So no, it wasn't entertaining. We thought it had potential. We didn't realize that potential. Maybe with the ESP on, it could feel different, or with the little weight at the back, I don't know. But it has potential, like you said. But on this track, it is very difficult, or it was very difficult to utilize it or realize that potential. I don't know what the lap time is going to be like, but it was a little work compared to other cars. But I guess that was a little expected with the Hilux. Yeah, that's that. Now let's see. So we're in the Defender now, and what we've chosen as the mode of choice is the gravel, snow, grass mode, because our track now is mostly gravel and there's just one mud section. Again, we don't have an option of switching to rear wheel drive or two wheel drive, so this is going to be all wheel drive, and that is going to be a huge plus. And so far Defender has shown that when it comes to the slippery stuff, when it comes to difficult stuff off-road, it really can put all that bar down, be it in terms of whatever runs we've had in the past. And here again, I think it will be down to how brave I am in terms of pushing it, because this should definitely do a really fast time, and it should feel very comfortable, very stable here. So yeah, it's up to me now, I guess, because the car is clearly up for the task. And so we've shifted to S in terms of drivetrain, and we're going to use the low traction launch to see how that goes. Okay, we're ready. All right, it is quick and not a lot of wheel spin. And here again, the bite out of corners is just sensational. All right. Oh, what happened here? Oops. Okay, so throttle surprisingly is acting quite weird. And this is the mud section. Now where we want a good throttle response coming out of corners, we're not getting it. At least a couple of times that's happened. Here again, I'm waiting on the throttle, but nothing's happening. I've gone through, but so I'm not very sure as to why that is. Here again, I'm on the throttle, but I've got nothing, absolutely nothing. It's only when it's in a straight line that I get, across the line. It's only in a straight line that I'm getting power, otherwise I'm not. So I don't know. Maybe I chose the wrong mode, or I was expecting too much, or I probably wasn't using the throttle the way it should be. But getting out of corners was a lot slower and a lot less potent than I would have imagined. It just seemed like there was just nothing, absolutely nothing I was getting till the wheels got straightened, and then of course I was getting some amount of push. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be that quick a time, unless it's making up in the tiny straights that we have. I guess time will show. But yeah, I was expecting more, and it wasn't as much fun. The other simpler, less expensive cars have been more fun on this circuit, but of course this felt in terms of stability, in terms of braking, in terms of steering response, it's so right up there. Just needed better throttle response coming out of corners. Maybe in a different mode it will feel differently, but right now that's what it is. So now let's see what the times are like. Now we're ending our timed lap with the G-Wagon, and expectations from the G-Wagon of course is that it will be quick, no doubt about that. It has a strong diesel engine, 700 Newton meters. So, and I don't think putting power down is going to be a big challenge for this car. It's got a very smart 4MATIC system, even though the track is almost nearly completely plugged out now. And what we've done is we've chosen an individual mode because we want light steering, we want comfortable suspension setting because of the completely rutted track, not completely, but rutted track. And we've chosen sport for the powertrain because we want a good throttle response and that. And we will try and switch off ESP, and it doesn't really give you that much freedom, but maybe a little bit of wheel spin and a little better throttle response coming out of these slippery corners. But yeah, let's see. And the time to beat is about, I think, 51 or 52 seconds. Let's see if the G-Wagon has what it takes. Okay, we are good to go. Yep. All right, so acceleration off the line is strong, but that you'd expect given the 700 Newton meters of torque. And this again, it feels like a small SUV. So it doesn't, the tighter corners, the one that we just got, no problem at all. Now this of course is water wading. We got to take it easy because not that you need to on this car, but it's just that something that we've been doing for all cars. And again, the traction out of the traction out of the the water body was excellent, and the balance, the grip, and the performance is just phenomenal on this car. Wow, feels fantastic. I mean, it did. So yeah, I mean, it brings a smile to your face outside when you look at it, and I mean, it is the best way to put it would be, it is seamless and easy. It goes fast. It is compact, going through these tiny, these tight circles with rocks on the side. You got to avoid that. But you can choose the line. You can change the line on gravel, on throttle. You can get its orientation changed. And the feel from the brakes and the way the car reacts to steering, and you know exactly what it's doing, so you can push a little harder, take it a little further than you think is needed. So, and overall, yeah, I mean, I totally enjoyed myself with this one. It felt fast, it felt entertaining, but it also felt safe, like it's not going to bite me in any way, and that was very, very confidence inspiring. Now let's see if the timing reflects that much of fun. A true 4x4 in today's world is already special. And then to find these special creatures at various price points delivering such a varied experience while maintaining that romance of go anywhere, do anything ability is serendipitous. As we said in the beginning, these tests are more a reflection of the abilities one takes for granted in new age 4x4s. And today, electronics have completely changed the game on how a 4x4 behaves. Not surprisingly, the G-Wagon, striking a lovely balance between old school goodness and new age tech, managed to lead most tests. What was surprising is how well the tiny and comparatively basic Jimny did. In fact, all our heroes did much better than our expectations. Speaking of happy experiences, the Jimny really impressed us. It is small, yes. It doesn't have really a great engine. It doesn't have a great gearbox. I mean, we've got a manual, and it runs on puny highway tires. But it did everything we threw at it as well, almost as well as the others, and it just never gave up. Yes, it struggled a few times, but it just never gave up. We said that this could be a plucky little car, and that's exactly what it is. The size versus performance ratio during our off-road day really endeared this car to us. It is something that you should have if you're on a budget, just don't think about it. But of course, if this is endearing, then the Mahindra Thar is the boisterous car in this bunch. It is big, yes, bigger than the Jimny. it has a much bigger engine, and it just has that persona which says that just throw anything at me and I will do it. And that's exactly what we did. We threw stuff at the Thar, and yes, it bounced around because it's not really set up as well as some of the others, but it just never gave up. It just went through, and we stopped caring after a while whether we'll damage it or not. It's just that good. But if this is boisterous, then we've got the Gloster. Now the Gloster is a road-going car. A road-going car that can also go off-road. That's exactly what it is. So after a day like this, you can drive it back home. So the way it did off-road was shockingly good. It did not finish right on top everywhere, but this is a road-going car, you have to imagine that. But it did everything we threw at it. Of course, the fact that it has all-time all-wheel drive helped its case, but still, it was the underdog, and it proved that if you're looking for a car, maybe you don't want the Fortuner, maybe you want something comfortable that can work off-road, the Gloster really sets the tone right. But that's the road-going thing. Then you've got the Hilux. The Hilux is an indestructible car. Time, television shows, and wartime. All of that has shown us that you cannot kill the Hilux. So, what about the Hilux impressed us? Well, at this oval, it was the sweetest car to slide around. Yes, it's long, yes, it's got rudimentary suspension, but that didn't stop it. It just did so well. Even during our off-road courses, it wasn't the most settled. Again, leaf springs at the back, it kept bouncing, and we didn't have, any weight at the back. And so it's not really done as well as the others, but it's not far off. So the Hilux, like I said, it's indestructible. Yes, it's expensive, but for what it can do, it really makes for a lovely pickup or otherwise off-roader to have in the house. Now, of course, we're moving into the realm of luxury. Defender, well, the Defender was always going to do well. It has heritage, it is legendary. This one, of course, has nothing to do with the older car, but even then, it is a masterful execution of electronics, hardware, all of that coming together to give you a car that just works everywhere, on the road, off-road, even on this oval. It just does what you ask of it. It is one of those cars that you really want to take everywhere. You don't want to park it at home. It is no garage queen. But what comes after this is something that you would want as a garage queen because it costs many crore of rupees to get, the G-Wagon. But to do that, to keep it and treat it as a garage queen would be a huge mistake, simply because of the capability it packs in. Of course, it looks gorgeous, but then when you get inside and when you start driving, it does everything, let's say, what the Defender does, and it might do some things which are better, maybe mildly better, but the way it does it and the way it feels, you take the steering, you take the braking, you take the handling, whatever you throw at it, it just does everything so well. And I said that I like the way it looks, but it's the clicking of the door that really melts my heart. And this is worth spending all that money if you can, honestly, because there's nothing like this in the market. So that was the G-Wagon. In fact, not just the G-Wagon, all our 6 heroes in this off-road test have proven that 4x4 as a vehicle category should continue. We'll miss them if they're gone. Maybe they will continue as electrics, I don't know. But for now, in the ICE form, with petrols, diesels, manuals, automatics, all of that, I think it's really made our 2 days. We've had tremendous amount of fun driving them and making this film, of course. So tell us, if you liked what you saw, if you enjoyed it, do comment, do let us know, because this is what we want to do. We want to bring these lovely stories to you, and it's been fun doing this. Thank you so much for watching.